Are you looking for innovative new ways to use your Druids Grove organic coconut oil?
Well, today on WTF, we're going to show you an amazing way to make marbling fat out of that coconut oil to make plant-based chicken nuggets and Cornish pasties. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, one of the owners of Modernist Pantry. And here on WTF, every week we cover unique ingredients, techniques, show you some cool, fun demos to get you started. So remember, subscribe, ring the bell, do what you have to do, and you'll get notified of our content. It comes out every single Tuesday. And today we are going to be talking about the Druids Grove organic coconut oil, but we're going to put a little fun twist on it because, you're like, coconut oil, I can get it at my local grocery store. What's exciting about that? So we're going to be covering specifically our Druids Grove organic coconut oil because a few episodes ago, if you've been watching, Scott used it in order to make a plant-based marbling fat, which went into our plant-based ground meat. So link to that episode in the description below. But then we kind of thought about it and we said, we have this cool marbling fat that we made. You don't need all of it for one serving of the burger. What else can we do with it? So we're kind of concentrating today on other applications of the marbling fat that you create with the coconut oil. But I think first, Scott, maybe we can start a little bit about what's special with the Druids Grove organic coconut oil because, people can get coconut everywhere. Why do they need this one?
Sure. So, yeah, it is organic, which is great. But it's also refined. And what that means is anything you make with it, it's not going to taste like coconuts. So that's a really big quality to this. Also, it melts at a specific temperature. So when we're adding it to things like plant-based meat, it's going to melt closer to where, like animal fat would. So it's going to work really well with all these recipes that we've come up with.
Yeah, so just to kind of be extra confirming, because we know we do get calls and emails about this, that if you try to make the recipes that you're going to see today with whatever is already in your pantry, they may not work correctly. So just kind of want to emphasize it. So
yeah, this recipe is made specifically for this coconut oil because I know it works every single time. So we're actually going to do a demo. We should do a quick demo to start of the coconut oil so we can just see how we make the marbling fat and how easy it is. So I just have some room temperature water, and that's important for this. You don't want to go cold water because if you add cold water, it's going to start solidifying the coconut oil because it starts to solidify around like 77 degrees. So, just room temperature or above because I do have warm coconut oil here. So I don't want to cool it down too quick. And then we have some methylcellulose here. So this methylcellulose I'm going to add in, and I'm just going to start blending it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making this, this water a little bit thicker. Now this does two things. It thickens the water, helps the emulsification, but also in the marbling fat, it's going to help hold on to that fat inside of, let's say, the burgers, the dumplings, whatever you're making. It's going to help hold on to that fat because methylcellulose gels as it's heated. So I'm just going to get this going, right? And you'll see it start to thicken up very quickly. And then as it starts to thicken up, I'm going to gently pour in my warm coconut oil. Now this is about 115 to 120 degrees, about hand washing temperature. And you just want to go slow. If you add all of this at once, it will not emulsify. That's not how emulsifications work. You have to slowly cut up that oil into very small globules. It gets interspersed between all of the water. Now one thing that you have to do is just watch it. It will thicken up. When emulsifications are being done right, they will start to thicken. It'll also become very white. The whiter it is, the better. Because that means the emulsification is working. There's more little bits of oil dispersed throughout the water, and the light's refracting off it, making it whiter. So as this also begins to thicken, I just bump it up in speed a little bit because I want it to keep moving. I never want it to sit there and allow the oil to cool up.
And Scott's a pro. If you're doing it, do it with the lid on your blender.
Yes. There we go. So it's nice and thick, and you'll get that kind of chugging towards the end because the methylcellulose thickens it, and then the emulsification as well. So if I just take a little spoon, we can see, or fork, doesn't matter. Right, we can see what it looks like now. But once it cools, you can just set it in the refrigerator, you could set it in the freezer, you'll end up with blocks of it like this. And this here can either be scraped or shredded into whatever you're making. So a number of different things that you can do with this is, plant-based ground beef, which we have here, you can see it kind of all throughout the meat. And as it cooks, it holds onto that fat. A little bit of it will leak out because you want it to. You want it to look like ground meat. So we're going to actually show off this plant-based ground chicken that we came up with, which we're excited about, right? So we have our TVP, and then we have just a little bit of our nutritional yeast flakes. We have a number of different flavorings. So we have some thyme, white pepper. So we went with a lot of flavors that kind of complement chicken because we want those to be very reminiscent. Obviously, we want this whole thing to be reminiscent of chicken. A little bit of that's dry ground mustard. Middle of summer, it's humid.
No.
It's got some
dry
garlic, some dry onion. It's humid now.
It is.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sage, ground sage. Now here's two things. This is a little bit of MSG. This is optional. If you don't want to use it, that's totally fine. We find it has the best kind of chickeny flavor that you're looking for, that umami.
Yep.
And here, this is transglutaminase TI. We found recently that the transglutaminase TI works with our
Faba
bean protein, yes, which is already in there. I mixed it in with the TVP earlier. So the Faba bean protein and the transglutaminase TI work together to make a completely plant-based kind of meat glue mixture, which is really amazing. We weren't able to figure it out before this, but we found out that the TI works with our Faba bean protein, so that's another benefit of the Faba bean protein. And then we have here is our methylcellulose that we're using in this recipe.
And is that the burger binder that we're using, or is
that is the methylcellulose HV.
Okay, so just to...
Those are both of these use the methylcellulose HV.
Yeah, and we're really excited about this recipe because I think ever since we did ground meat, there were a lot of calls and emails and comments like, can you do chicken? Can you do chicken? So we're really excited that, after months of R&Ding, we've actually been able to produce a chicken that we are happy with. Yeah.
Yes, and yes, it's not chicken breast. It's very difficult to make those strands of protein like a chicken breast, but this is a really great ground chicken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my water and amino acids. So that's going to start to thicken up immediately as I put it in here. It pulls everything in, and over time it's going to fully hydrate. Great.
Nice.
So what I do with this, and it's going to take a little bit of time for this to fully hydrate. Once it's fully hydrated, I grate in my fat.
Okay.
So with this, we don't have to worry about it so much because you don't need it to look like marbled beef. So with this one, I can grate in my fat at room temperature, no problem. I don't have to worry about freezing it to make it little bits of it around. I can just mix it in, and it can melt in just slightly into this. So we can move this off for now.
Okay. And wait, this?
I got it. You're fine.
But I just kind of want to make a point about room temperature because we are we are in the middle of summer here in Maine, and we do get some calls sometimes about people who make the marbling fat, but then they're like, it started to melt before I could really use it. Can you talk a little bit about what room temp really means in this case?
So about 65 degrees is where you want it. Anything higher than that, a really hot, humid day, just keep it in the refrigerator. When you're just working inside, and let's say it's air conditioned, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, in like a restaurant-style kitchen, you're definitely going to want to keep it refrigerated because this will melt in those higher temperatures between 77 and 97. So that's where it's really going to start melting, even with the methylcellulose in there and everything. So just keep it refrigerated until you need it. Like I said, with the chicken, it's not a big deal because it can melt into there a little bit better. That's totally fine. So what I do with that, after I have that chicken, then I mix it with the burger binder that we have. And you can see everything on our Instagram because we did an entire breakdown of how this recipe works on our Instagram. Links in the description below. You can see it later this week. I think it comes out. And then what I did is I punch them out, and I have these perfect little chicken nuggets. So I'm just going to fry these up, get these going. We can talk about the rest of the stuff. But let these get nice and fried up. And this is what we really wanted to kind of replicate. And even on our Instagram, we did a few shapes that looked like, they weren't really dino nuggets because we did like animal nuggets. So we have some lions and giraffes and things. But they're plant-based, so perfect.
And then what's that breading that's on the nugget?
So it's very simple. It's just flour, a little bit of batter binder mixed with water, and then panko breadcrumbs. So a normal 3-stage breading process, no egg obviously, but it works really well. It's going to hold on to the outside of that nugget.
Okay.
That's one thing that we found is all of our normal breading procedures without egg, it was really difficult to get them to stick to the outside of that nugget. With this, it's great.
Is it the batter bind that's helping?
The batter bind 100% is making it stick indefinitely. Like it's almost completely adhered to it. So it's very reminiscent of like a major brand chicken nugget that you had as a kid. This is what we're looking for. And on top of that, we made a very special plant-based sweet and sour sauce that you can dip your nuggets in when they're all done. So once these are done, you can dip one in there, Janie. It'll be delicious.
I definitely will. And I know that you made a couple other things on here as well, because we wanted to see once we had that meat mixture, what else, like how far can you push it?
You can do anything with this you want. So actually the Cornish pasties are made with the beef, and then the dumplings, which is a recipe that's coming down the line, we're really refining it, wanting to get it, is made with the chicken. So we're trying to do a bunch of different things with these and almost make variations of them, you know, pork-like or beef-like and things like that. So the Cornish pasties and the chicken nuggets are going to be on the blog, and down the line maybe we do a whole episode on making the dumplings, and if we can get something very special that we're working on to work, it could be a game changer for plant-based dumplings. So stay tuned to that. But yeah, the plant-based Cornish pasties have, you know, baked potato. They have some mirepoix, some tomato paste in there, and the breading on that is really special because usually it's a pâte brisée. Pâte brisée has butter in it, but instead of using butter, we use our marbling fat. So this can stand in for butter in all sorts of baked recipes, and it works exactly the same because it has similar water ratio.
Okay.
So when I'm adding this, you don't add any baking powder or baking soda. It's actually the little bits of water that are in there that will then puff and kind of make that crispy exterior. So that's what is doing it here with the plant-based meat that we have here. So if you break it open, you can see everything in there.
That's really awesome because that's something that you normally can't do.
So pie crust and things like that. And a lot of the times, the pie crust, when you make it with just the coconut oil, is going to kind of just disperse. It's just going to lose all of its fat. And with this one, you get a lot of that, you know, that fat retention. So you get that really flaky, slightly tender texture to it.
The dough is really nice on this.
Okay, so I'm just going to get these finished up. You can smell them in here. Smells like chicken, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Great.
And if you do want to see us, you know, try to get this dumpling recipe like finalized, just leave us some comments, some love below, and then we'll be like, oh, people like it. I guess we should work on this.
If we get to 100 likes on this video, we will fast track it.
Do YouTube videos get likes?
Yeah, they get likes. Or thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Maybe not likes anymore. I'm living in 2007. But yeah, if they get thumbs up, then yeah, we will definitely fast track it.
Cool.
All right, so I have these. And what's happening here is really special because we did a high ratio of that burger binder. So that high ratio of the burger binder is going to make for a chewy, bouncy texture that you get from like a chicken nugget that that you really want. You don't want it to be soft or you know, kind of delicate, falling apart. You want that kind of chewy bounce to them. So I'm just gonna take this and put it into our little container. There you go, Janie. That's gonna be very hot, but
I know.
I trust you.
Yeah. So
the sauce will cool it down.
Okay. So kind of one thing I want to know, because I think when people go to the recipe, which all the links in the description below, and they're going to look at this recipe and they're going to see transglutaminase also being referred to as meat glue, and they'll be like, are you putting meat in this nugget?
No.
Okay.
Transglutaminase that we carry is 100% plant-based. So it's not made from meat. It's not derived from meat, not made from meat blood. And TI is the vegan style of transglutaminase. So the TI doesn't have any extra, sodium caseinate, doesn't have any gelatin added to it. It just has transglutaminase. So you don't have to worry about any animal-based product in that.
Yeah, and this is a really good nugget. Like when we were kind of testing it before we decided to launch it, like it tastes so good, and I love nuggets, but I'm kind of picky about them at the same time.
Get a good little shot over here of it. But yeah, these nuggets are great. We put them out. Everyone loved them. No one asked if they were not chicken, so that is the best part about it. Right? We want them to taste, look, feel like chicken nuggets, and you don't have to worry about what's in them.
Yeah, and one of the best parts is if you've already been working with a plant-based ground meat, you already have the vast majority of stuff that you need in order to make these chicken nuggets and these like empanadas and stuff. So you're pretty much good to go. So try them out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Any questions, feedback, we're happy to hear from you. And we are super excited to see what people are going to make with this ground chicken. So from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you'll get recipes, ask a chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the test kitchen, helping you create memorable and magical experiences.